Hello, welcome back to Healing Mama podcast. I am Val, aka Healing Mama, and today's episode is episode 23, Grace. So we will go ahead and kick it off with our quote. The quote is, "When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be," by Lao Tzu. And I feel like I can relate to this one because I have a strong sense of control or the need for control. And now I'm coming to a point to where I'm like, okay, God, I know that I have to release this sense of control, but it's so hard, right? Because with the inner trauma issues and childhood traumas and the way I grew up and having to feel like I had to create a sense of comfort and inner peace for myself while I got older, I learned that I controlled that I had to learn, from a young age what I was able to control. And in the little things that I was able to control, I held on to that pretty tightly. And I wanted to make sure that I was able to kind of keep things stable on the items that I was able to control. And I feel like that really led me to have control issues as an adult in the sense of, I want to make sure that when we go on vacation, I sometimes ruin it because I want to make sure that we are going by the timeline and I can't really stray from that, or I get irritated, or I would get irritated. We haven't been on vacation in a while. But having that control and knowing that if something deviated, it was going to be my fault and I was going to be 100% responsible for that, and wanting to make sure that everything was in line and going according to plan was what made me feel good. What made me feel like, okay, I can breathe, when in all reality, that's craziness. And so now, I'm trying to let go of what I am, who I was, so that I can become who I'm meant to be. Um, Very much like the quote says. And so learning to let go of everything that I built up to protect myself, everything that I created in terms of reflexes or responses or walls that were built because I felt like I needed to protect myself. Learning to let go of that is hard. And so I'm coming to this place to where I'm like, okay, you know what? I need to have grace with myself. I need to know that for so long I feel like I needed to protect and defend myself. And now I don't have to. I can give it to my higher power and know that everything is working out for my greatest and highest good. But for so long, I didn't do that. So now having to let go, it's like I know my higher power is like, okay, Val, like it's time for you to let go. Like if only you knew what was on the other side of you not letting go and everything that I can give you and the peace that you can have. And I'm like, okay, like I know that there's bigger, better for me, but I'm like, God, I've been doing this for so long. It's so hard for me to let go. And so really trying to get to the place, and I'm not there yet. So I'm trying to get to this place to where I am letting go. And I really am trying. Every morning I wake up and I'm like, okay, God, your will, not mine. Like, just help me through this day, whatever comes, lead me and guide me, give me insight, and I just ask for safety and protection always. But it is hard, right? When a situation arises and you immediately want to take control of it and you immediately know like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, or this is what I have to do, and you start already in a sense kind of building up to where what's the next step and going before situations even arise. Like you're thinking of the worst possible scenario and how you can do things to keep yourself from that, or what you can do to fix it in the event that that situation arises. And so that's where I'm at, right? And it's like every little thing I know that is going through my life right now, that I'm going through, that's happening to me, that I'm being tested with, I know it's for a reason, and I know it's to help me create this new, better version of myself. But it is so hard, right? Because I've lived 35 years of my life the way, or I should say, I just started this journey in, really, really, like I said, hitting it hard this last year, starting 2025. So I feel like with all of that being said, it's new for me. 34 years of my life, I've done what I've done and it worked. or what I thought it worked at least. But if it really worked, I would have been fine and I wouldn't have needed to heal or set boundaries or work on myself. And that's what I'm doing, right? It's not just about other people or my parents or people that have hurt me. It's things that I've done to hurt myself. And again, learning to have grace with myself. And so that's been something that I've really been struggling with. I would say probably the last couple of weeks. I've been really hard on myself in the sense of, when I do let somebody get me frustrated, and it's not even that I'm reacting the way I used to, right? Just the mere fact of me getting a little bit bothered by people's reactions or actions, it does sadden me because I know that I let them take me to a point to where they affected my energy, they affected my vibration, they affected how I felt at that moment. And so I get down on myself and I'm like, come on, Val, like we could do better. We've been working. And so I'm learning that I need to have grace, right? Because this is new for me. And I am trying every single day, and not every day is going to be a W, right? But as long as I continue to wake up in the morning, try to do my best, keep going, and shake it off, then I know that I'll be okay. So I'm getting to that point where I'm trying to shake it off. I'm trying to have grace with myself. And so I took some notes. So if you see me looking down, that's why. And I wrote self-compassion, aka grace, is an essential component of self-esteem. And so what that means is trauma survivors often have a critical mindset of themselves, self-judgment, internal negative dialogues, so the negative self-talk that you have in your mind. And I have that, right? So I will say it's gotten better, because I try to always, whenever I do have a negative thought pop up, try to switch it to a positive affirmation or uh, a feeling of gratitude, a moment of gratitude. But with trauma, you went through things and, it could have been a death, it could have been a loss of a loved one in the sense of, parents separating. It could be anything under the sun, right? Like, who am I to sit here and put boundaries and stipulations on what is trauma? And so, but everybody went through some type of trauma, has gone through some type of trauma in their life to date. And those traumas build up these subconscious thoughts and they stay there, right? Unless you're doing anything to clear out the subconscious mind, those thoughts stay there. And 90% of your actions or your reactions are based on your subconscious mind. And so that negative self-talk is there, that, hey, you know what, I'm not good enough. Hey, you know what, nobody loves me. So all those childhood traumas, or whatever traumas you have, in my instance, I'm going to say childhood traumas come up, right? So I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I wasn't loved. I felt like people's perception of me was my reality. And so now, trying to have grace with myself and knowing people's perceptions of me is their perception, not my reality. And so really trying to take that on and not be hard on myself and stopping whenever I am feeling that way, right? Because when I am triggered, that's little me acting out, right? If somebody upsets me or if somebody hurts my feelings, I have to stop and I have to look deep down inside and I have to realize, how am I reacting? What is my response? And then look deeper at that. How did that trigger little me? How did that trigger little Val? And so, for example, in a situation that arises where somebody is disrespectful or, it says ugly things, at that moment, little Val's triggered, right? Because she's like, okay, like, you disrespected me. That tells me I'm not good enough, that you see me as less than. And so little me is reacting. So I have to stop and tell myself, hey, their perception is not my reality. Their feelings is not true to who I am or what I am. So stopping and saying, hey, little Val, I have you. I got your back. We're going to be okay. And doing self-affirmations to tell myself, I'm going to be okay. That doesn't matter what they think, what they feel, what they said is not true. You are enough. You are loved. You are valid. You are important. And you are respected. Because if you don't do that, you're going to sit there and you're going to react on your situation, right? You're going to react from a place of hurt or a place of anger, which deep down inside is our little child. And so a lot of the times I feel like people don't look at it like that, right? we see it as they did something, this is just how I reacted. But if you look at it at a deeper level, you're reacting because of your inner child. And so I will give a example. I'm not going to call out anybody for this, but I recently had a situation to where I was helping somebody out with a certain situation, and at the end there was a situation where it didn't line, or she didn't think that it was lining up to where it was supposed to be. So we had hired somebody to do something. She thought that it wasn't done properly at the end, but in all reality, what he did was to help her, right? So I got a phone call and it was like, hey, like, I heard little child in this instance, right? It was like, Val, like, so and so didn't do this right. Like, literally, like, having a little mini tantrum, but this is an adult that I'm speaking to. And so at first, it triggered me with the, Val, he didn't do this. Like, I was like, whoa, whoa, pump your brakes. Like, why are you talking to me like that? Number one. And secondly, I was in the shower. I just answered the phone because I knew it was going to be important. So it was like the situation and the tone instantly like flipped for me, right? And it took me like 2 seconds where then I stopped and I was like, whoa, this is so weird. I can honestly see that she's coming from a place of her inner child. This is not even her adult self talking. This is inner child upset that she didn't get what she wanted, or she thought she didn't get what she wanted. And so it was weird, right? Because I've never been able to see that inner child from a different perspective coming from somebody else. Whenever I'm looking at an inner child, I'm looking at myself, mine and mine only. But in this situation, it brought up an instance to where I was able to see somebody else's inner child, which was crazy. And so I didn't say anything at the moment, right? I heard her out. I took care of it. I got on the phone and I explained the situation to her. So she's like, okay, fine, right? A couple of days go by and I'm like, hey, like, can I tell you something? Her and I have a relationship to where we can be honest with each other. And so she was like, yeah. And I was like, you remember that call? And she's like, yes, I'm embarrassed. Like, I don't want to talk about it. And so I was like, hey, like, why are you embarrassed? And she was like, because I know I heard myself after I had already done it. So I'm like, hey, good for you. Like, you heard it, you recognized it. Like, that's awesome to me. And on her end, I think she still didn't see the fact that she was able to make progress by even catching it, because a lot of the times we don't catch it. Sometimes I don't catch it. The fact that she was able to catch that inner child speaking out for her at that moment was amazing, because she saw that before I even called it out, right? And so I loved that. And I told her, like, hey, that's awesome that you could actually see that, because people can't see it. And so just telling her again, like, have grace with yourself because you were able to see that. The grace kicks into where you're like, okay, it's all right. You know what? I acted that way, or I reacted, and it's all right. It was a moment I had. What do I need to do to work on that, right? For the next situation, the next scenario. What do I have to do to be better in that situation next time? So that way we already know, okay, I've been in this situation before. This is a trigger. Let me pump my brakes. Do I need to walk away? Do I need to perhaps say it in a text message? Do I need to take time to think before I even respond? See, if you don't have grace with yourself, then you are not even taking the time to think about what you need or what little you needs, right? Because you're just reacting. And that's really been something that I have been working on. I was talking to a lady. I went in to go do my hair, and she and I were talking, and her and I are pretty close in age and pretty similar in beliefs and thought processes. And so we were talking, and she's like, you know what? Like, I am in the season of, I feel like I get the same lesson over and over. And so I told her, yeah, 100%. I as well. But what's happening is when we are getting these lessons or situations that present themselves, and at the end of the day, it's the same thing, it's because God, your higher power, the universe, whatever you want to call it, is aligning those situations to continue to work on you. So until you learn that lesson, you're going to continue to get those situations. You're going to continue to get those scenarios, those tests, because you are supposed to learn something. You're supposed to change something, change the way you are, change the way you think, change your perspective, whatever it is. And so I told her I've been having the same thing, right? Again, in a previous episode, I mentioned my anger and my responses and my rar, my ready to get people. I've been tested and tested and tested. It's slowing down, right? Because I think God's like, okay, I see you getting it. We still need work, but you're getting it. And so I am seeing that, right? I'm seeing a whole bunch of things that pop up to tell me, like, hey, have grace with yourself. You're learning, you're growing, and it's not always easy, guys. And so I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna be honest with you all the time and tell you I'm struggling. Like, I'm struggling in the sense of grace for myself, right? Because it is something that's hard. And so really working on it and telling myself, hey, it's okay. It's okay to let go. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to, feel some type of way initially, but as long as you're learning from it and you're growing from it, then there will be progress, there will be growth. It's so hard, I feel like, to show ourselves grace. I'm learning to let go of the negative self-talk, right? The part of us that when something goes wrong, we're like, how did we let that happen? Like, how dumb could we be? Let me ask you, what does that negative self talk, what is you telling yourself that do? What is the purpose, right? Does telling yourself that you're dumb, you're stupid, you're this, you're that, does that serve you, your greatest and highest good? Or does it go against everything that you're trying to be or everything that you want to be, which is a better person, somebody who's loving, somebody who's growing? So, would you tell your child that, or your cousin or your mom, your dad, somebody that you love, would you tell them you're dumb, you're stupid? No, you wouldn't, because you love them. So love yourself and tell yourself, hey, it's all right. I'm learning, I'm growing. And that's where the grace is, right? And so learning to change the negative self-talk to a loving self-talk. And by that, I mean learning to talk to yourself in a loving, respectful manner. I love myself. I am enough. Hey, this situation came up and it didn't go the way I thought, but it's okay. I learned from it. Hey, you know what? This person made me feel this kind of way, but that doesn't reflect who I am, or that doesn't reflect my character, who I'm going to become, or who I am already. And so really having that grace with yourself, guys. And I know it's so hard, right? The other day I was talking to my husband and situation arose where we made an appointment to have like a sit down chat where we're going to do this once a week, talk about the week, do self inventories, just things to help each other out and be on each other's side, right? And so it was a couple of days before we were supposed to have our conversation, and he's like, hey, like, it's okay if you don't want to do it. Like, I know, like, it's not that important. And so I automatically stopped. I'm like, whoa, pump your brakes. Like, when did I say that? Like, when did I say it wasn't important? And he was like, well, I'm not important. And I'm like, okay, have I said something or done something to make you feel that way? And he was like, no, you haven't. And he's like, but I feel that way. I said, so you feel like you're not important? And he was like, yeah. And I said, that's sad because you are important. So somewhere down the line, somebody told him he wasn't important, or somebody made him feel like he wasn't important. Somebody made him feel like he wasn't worth their time. And so that is still something inside of him that is boiling, and he's 36 years old, right? And so we do that, right? We built up these childhood traumas and these inner voices and this negative self-talk. And so we tell ourselves like, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm not important, or I'm not going to do this because I'm not smart enough, or this, that, or the other. And so we've built that up. So pumping our brakes and saying, hey, I am important. So changing that and having grace with yourself and saying like, no, I am important. We scheduled this time, let's be respectful of each other. And so him and I, like I said, we're working through it. We're trying to be on each other's team, and it's just so weird and crazy, right? Because I'm like, God, like, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, because as I'm learning, I feel like I'm able to help others and I'm able to see things. So I was able to stop him and say like, hey, no, like, don't talk to yourself like that. Like, somebody told you that, but that's not true, because you are so important. You're important to yourself. You're important to me. You're important to the kids. You're important to so many people. But that inner voice and that inner child is telling you you're not important. But if I would have never jumped into this path of healing, it would have been like, okay, he's being a baby, he's throwing a tantrum, like, we're not going to do this, right? So I am grateful and blessed to be on this journey and happy to help in any way. And so I am learning and growing, and I appreciate everybody that's on this journey with me. And I hope that along the way, one of these episodes resonates with you and you're like, hey, you know what, girl? I feel you. Like, I understand that. I get it. I've been there. I've done that. Or I want to be there. And I want to let you all know I do have an email. It is healingmamapodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to write me. You can send me a message. You can send me your feelings. You can do whatever you want. But feel free to email me. Again, that is healingmamapodcast@gmail.com. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have heard snoring or you see this little dark shadow over here, that is my dog. He is asleep on the bed. Usually I throw him out, but he had my heart today, so he got to stay. But again, back to it, guys. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Castle, Instagram, TikTok. And again, you can email me at healingmamapodcast@gmail.com. So please share, like, send it to your friends. Anything helps. I appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. And I hope you have an amazing, amazing day and a great weekend. And until next time, have a great one. Bye, guys.